Yes? Yes? Yes, we're live? Yep. All right, we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Facebook Live and YouTube Live, right, Cam? Yep. You got it. Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Today is Wednesday, January 10th. Already, this is the first Facebook and YouTube Live of the year of 2024. Jill Simonian here from PragerU Kids, everybody. Remember, if you haven't subscribed for free yet to PragerUKids.com, do so now. We've got more than 300 shows, 200 worksheets, educational material about American values, history, civics, financial literacy, character development. You got it. I have it pulled up on my screen right now for you to take a look. But for those of you who are in California, let me know that you're here in California. For those of you who are across the country, let me know where you're at. We always like to hear where everyone is from. As most of you know, I'm one of the personalities for PragerU Kids. I'm a mom, and today we are talking about truth and discernment. This is my personal theme for 2024, and I invite you to join me in the pursuit of truth and the ability to develop personal discernment when it comes to everything in our lives, particularly our kids' education. Tell me what's happening at your child's school, or if you homeschool, I want to know about that. But truth and discernment is the theme today, because I'm going to ask all of you, did you see the NBC hit piece about PragerU and PragerU Kids on Meet the Press? The whole piece aired about a month ago. We have been, if you're a subscriber to our email list for PragerU or PragerU Kids, you've probably gotten the notification about our CEO, Marissa Streit, and Dennis Prager reacting on video to the piece that aired on NBC all about PragerU Kids. And I've actually shared, I'm hoping you can see the link because I did share it in the description on Facebook and YouTube here. So again, this piece all about PragerU Kids aired in December. Dennis and Marissa reacted to it. I've shared the link. I would like you, if you're able to, if you're watching right now, take a look at my screen. You can see the beginning. I'm not going to play it for you because I really want everyone to do a few things. Okay, let this very first live of the year inspire you to find truth and develop discernment by doing a few things here according to, as associated with this NBC link. Watch the segment on NBCnews.com. Then I want you to watch Dennis and Marissa's reaction to it, very frank reaction. I myself spent, this is more than an hour long. This is all free on our website for you to watch, PragerU.com. You can type in Dennis and Marissa react to NBC piece. This is on our website for you to watch. And then I want you to watch Marissa Streit, our CEO's uncut, totally raw interview with NBC. And this, I am asking you to do this, mom to mom, parent to parent, as a way to educate yourself further for how to discern truth and teach our children to discern truth when watching or listening to different mainstream media. Because I'm telling you what I learned personally. There's a few things I want to say about this. First of all, I'll go back to, I'm just going to let it sit here on the video on Dennis and Marissa's reaction of the NBC piece, because I want you to be able to see the website and remind you to watch this. But a few things I want to say about this personally. This was, in fact, a hit piece. And I'm speaking for myself personally. I don't say that with any, vendetta or disdain or bitterness, or I really don't, because I've come to the point now, and I want you all to leave comments on the Facebook and YouTube video. I've come to the point now where nothing really surprises me anymore. This piece that NBC put out on PragerU and PragerU Kids was about, NBC devoted about 30 minutes to PragerU Kids, okay? It was deceitful. It purposely omitted the brains and meat of what we actually do here at PragerU Kids. It seemingly purposely omitted our shows that we've developed regarding financial literacy, civics education, character development, the promotion of all things goodness, essentially, because that's what we do at PragerU Kids. We strive to entertain and educate children in character development, goodness, our shared values, our shared history, the cultural literacy, the stories that actually unite us as opposed to separating us into victim and oppressor categories. The NBC piece really did miss the mark in showing and informing everyone about the spectrum of what we do, particularly for our kids' shows at PragerUKids.com. And it's really, the past few years, it's been very, very hard for me to reconcile how much legacy mainstream media will now lie. It's really hard for me to reconcile. Those of you who know me and have followed me know that my professional background, the 15 years prior to me coming to work here for PragerU Kids, was in fact in mainstream media, on mainstream news outlets, CBS, KTLA. I did some work here and there for the Today Show on NBC as a parenting contributor. It's been really hard for me to reconcile how much mainstream media lies, but I'm now used to it, and the piece that was done on PragerU Kids was not surprising to me at all. It's to be expected. It's disappointing, yeah, because, you know, journalism is supposed to be the pursuit of truth and the sharing of unbiased information. But if you watch these pieces, you will see very clearly that it was, in fact, very, very biased, and it was, in fact, blatant misinformation. But we don't feel dejected around here. We do not feel dejected. We feel, I'll say this personally, I feel personally validated to showcase what I'm about to showcase with you, that mainstream media has zero issue with lying. NBC came to our offices, spent an entire day here, eight hours, I believe it was. They spent an entire day here. In the piece, they showed behind the scenes footage of me reading the story in Otto's Tales. And in the piece, when you watched it on television, there wasn't one single VO description of what that actually was. The piece, if you watch it and if you watch Dennis and Marissa's reaction to it on our website, you will see that there was a lot of tangents that really were irrelevant and had nothing to do with us. So I encourage you to watch this piece. What I really doubly encourage you to do is to watch the uncut interview of, again, our CEO, Marissa Streit, and ask the question, why in the NBC, like I said, spent 30 minutes discussing PragerU on their Meet the Press program back in December. Within that 30 minutes, it was about a 12-minute pre-produced segment, and then on the back end of it, the remaining 30 minutes was commentary between two people. You can watch the whole thing on NBC's website. But why in the 12-minute produced segment was none of our CEO Marissa Streit's sit-down interview included, which you can watch her sit-down interview on our website, raw, completely uncut, with the reporter, Antonia Hilton, back and forth, completely uncut, unedited, raw. Why was none of Marissa's interview used? Because it was too reasonable, because it made too much sense, because it was actually unifying for anyone to listen to on either side of the aisle, politically speaking. Journalism used to be rooted in finding the truth, and the produced piece that ended up airing on NBC was not. If it was, it would have included half a soundbite from the actual sit-down interview with Marissa. which I encourage you to watch on our website, PragerU.com, because it's not ratings friendly to share something reasonable. That's the fact. For NBC to share something reasonable that would have actually had viewers pause and say, oh, that's something interesting to think about, or I agree with that. I may not agree with everything PragerU.com does, but I do agree, according to what Marissa Streit said, that children need to be educated and unified, not based on race. That makes sense. But reasonability aired on television does not equal ratings. So we need to be committed as parents to pursue truth and have discernment and really know what we're dealing with. And I can't help it, but I found this experience completely validating for the truth and the goodness of what we are sharing here with parents, families, teachers, educators of all kinds through PragerU Kids. I found validation that now more than ever, we need to unify our children through education, not split them apart by politicized narratives and teacher union directives. We need to unify our schools more than ever to understand and value truth and to speak truth. And I thought it might be fun to share some of my interview, raw and uncut, that I had with the reporter, Antonia Hilton, because none of the 15-minute interview that I did also was included in the piece, which I don't mind at all, because honestly, there's only so much time you can do things, right? It doesn't matter to me. I know how it is on the back end in the editing bay when you're in news. You can't include everything. You just can't. However, I'm going to share some of my interview with you now, because if you watch the piece that aired on NBC, you will see that statements and inferences were communicated in that segment about PragerU that directly contradicted what was said in the raw footage by myself and by, quite frankly, Marissa and Dennis. But you can watch their raw footage on our website, but you don't have my raw footage on our website. So I'm going to share it with you now, just a little bit. This is a portion of it. And this is the purpose of me sharing this is again, it's not to be bitter, it's not to shame, it's not to say, hey, I gotcha. We're way past I gotcha moments here. Our goals, my goals as a mother who happens to work for PragerU Kids, my goal is to teach people how to discern truth. Okay. And here we go. Let's watch this. I'm going to bring it up on my screen, and it's a little bit long, so I might make a comment here and there, but this is just a portion of what I talked about with Antonia Hilton. Here we go.
You have some partnerships that are growing in states around the country, but in some
Can we hear it?
Certain districts and educators are opting out of using Prager's content. What are you going to do about that? How do you see Prager being able to grow if without accreditation, if historians and groups are saying you're not appropriate for schools? How does this grow, and how do you actually find your place in the education system?
All of our content is available online for free for anyone. It's available for anyone to use, teacher or parent, right now. It's all up there. Anyone can access it for free. Teachers access virtually anything they want online now for free. And when it comes to accreditation, is amaze.org accredited? No. Is BLM, the Black Lives Matter organization, accredited? No. They have materials that are available for teachers to access in schools, and in some school districts, those materials are actually mandated.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there. Amaze.org. Those of you who watch my lives are probably already informed about amaze.org. It is sex education online. These online resources that many teachers use. I myself know personally for a fact there are several local unified school districts, public school districts in Southern California that use amaze.org for their sex education. If you go to amaze.org, I'm going to try and do this off the cuff right now. If you go to amaze.org, you will see, and if you poke around on their website, you will see that many of their videos have to do with teaching kids as young as 5th grade pansexuality, gender identity, inappropriate topics such as how to pleasure yourself. Okay, I don't enjoy talking about these things online, but amaze.org, based on the research that I've done, the searches online that I've done, amaze.org, to my knowledge, is not an accredited institution. Yet, Beverly Hills Unified School District and La Cañada Unified School District, both very affluent school districts here in the Southern California area, have used amaze.org resources. La Cañada Unified School District in particular used an amaze.org video in one of their quote unquote science, health ed, sex ed classes to teach about abortion. Okay, so these are amaze.org is an uncredited organization. According to my research, please prove me wrong if I am wrong. I want to be proved wrong if I'm making a mistake. But NBC tries to tell the world PragerU is not accredited. You have school districts using non-accredited materials across the board for, frankly, very age-inappropriate lessons, and you're going to lambaste us for making videos about literally civics and financial literacy or character development that teaches children that we're all created equal and that we should all treat each other equally based on the content of our character. I also want to talk about another uncredited uncredited institution that is not, accredited for curriculum, so to speak. Black Lives Matter. You heard me say it in the raw footage with a reporter. Black Lives Matter at schools. Here's the website if you're looking at the video right now, lausd.org. Black Lives Matter at schools. Week of Action, February 1st through 5th. Now, granted, I believe that this particular lesson, which I've had bookmarked in my work files here, this particular handout was out and about for usage by teachers with action steps in public schools. I believe this particular one was for February 2021. So you have these non-accredited institutions all over public schools. Planned Parenthood also offers resources and lessons that many schools utilize. The Trevor Project also offers lessons that many schools utilize, many resources, helplines, so to speak. So all of these things, and you'll notice I said that in my raw interview, yet the segmented piece on NBC did not care. I want to talk about one more thing, because the piece on NBC, and I will go back to this too, if you are really interested in going down this rabbit hole, which I encourage you, you'll notice that our CEO, Marissa Streit, today, there's a piece on Fox News. And let's go
PragerU is showing up and providing an alternative voice to the DEI and critical race theory and the early sexualization of children. And we're representing much of America's public, the parents, and we're saying enough with that. We don't want you indoctrinating our kids to hate our own country or to hate one another or to hate their own bodies. We don't want any of this Marxist education in our schools. And at the very least, we want institutions, kinder through college, to have an alternative, an option where if they don't want to teach CRT and they want to teach an alternative, if they want to level the playing field, they have at least another turnkey educational piece that they can use. And
that's true. Okay, I encourage you to also watch Marissa on foxnews.com. But let's go back to my interview very quickly because I want to share one more thing with you. There was an ongoing theme in my UNCUT interview with the reporter from NBC discussing race. She, rightfully so, I mean, I had a very nice, friendly rapport with her. Rightfully so, the reporter kept bringing up how, she kept bringing up the idea of marginalized groups, how marginalized groups need a voice, how certain aspects in history are not told by marginalized groups. And, there was something that was a theme and discussion. And I, quite frankly, said, there's a part earlier in this where I said, I don't disagree with you. However, our objective is to unify children and educate children no matter what color their skin is. And I want to just briefly continue this exchange so that you can see what I physically in real time said to her. And Marissa's raw interview also, ironically, said the exact same thing to her. Yet all of this talk about unifying students with the concept of equality, no matter what skin color, no matter what victim oppressive narrative they've been fed, the concept of unifying students to educate them fully and wholly in a healthy way, that was never included in the NBC piece. So let's take a listen, just so you know what the truth was, and then what actually made it onto air at NBC. Let's take a listen at.
Our materials are not mandated by any means. They're merely available for educators to use at their discretion, should they want, just like a YouTube video.
Is the goal to get into the education system, or is it really to be the conservative Disney? Where do you think it's going, the business?
Our goal, we're a nonprofit.
We're a nonprofit. We are a nonprofit. I should say that. We're a nonprofit. So now you know that what we are up against. And if you're called if you're moved to make a donation, we are a nonprofit. So absolutely, we can fuel this, I call it a rightful, joyful fight to restore our education system. So you can make a donation at PragerU.com. Let's keep going.
Where do you see the content, the message going?
To families and to teachers and to students who want to learn what so many schools are unfortunately not teaching. More than half of kids across the country can't read. More than half of kids around the country have no financial literacy. They can't pass math. 13% of middle school age students, only 13% could name significant places in history, significant figures in history. Kids don't know civics. This is a problem for everyone. This is not a left versus right issue. This is not a Democrat-Republican issue. This is an American issue, no matter.
This is an American issue. And the part that is maybe the most disappointing in the NBC piece for me personally is that it was never, ever, ever stated at all on air that our education system is a purely American issue and how important it is to unify students to become educated because it is an American issue, no matter what side of the aisle anyone happens to think politically. That was the most disappointing thing to me. NBC had an opportunity here to really for lack of a better word, calm the fire, so to speak. They opened this segment talking about how we see education as a war and really trying to, gaslight us. And the fact that the opportunity to unify people once and for all and to really move past this, because everyone always says, let's unify, and unifying people and families and educators is really what we are about here. If you go to PragerUKids.com, we are about unifying. Watch our videos. That's all I can say. But the disappointing thing is that the opportunity was lost to include to include the goodness that we really are creating and sharing for children and families and young students. I'm going to continue.
What side of the aisle anyone may be on, there is a problem. And the problem is that our education system has been corrupted. And many say hijacked. I myself have used the word hijacked many times by politics, divisive narratives, systems and methods that literally divide kids by the color of their skin and putting them into victor and oppressor categories. As a mom, I think about how too many school districts and state education departments are teaching children that they can only feel safe if they're in a room with people who match the color of their skin. That's terrifying. That's horrible. That's sad. Honestly, think about that. That's what our education system, that's where we're at right now.
And that is where we're at right now. And I did, in a different part of this interview, discuss how I myself have seen as a parent the actual lessons where children are divided by race or divided by gender or required to, identify their feelings of sexuality and whatnot. And I continually said, the repeated theme was unify, 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 stop separating children, which is, it's disappointing that the piece that was aired had absolutely nothing to do with our objective here. And our objective is to keep families and kids educated in a unified way with our shared values. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to share that. I encourage you to watch, let me get to the website. I encourage you to watch what all of our behind the scenes footage reveals about the misinformation shared on NBC's Meet the Press segment. And I want to encourage you to weigh in also and share what you've noticed about finding truth and searching for truth and discernment, particularly when it comes to the education of our children. Let me see if there are any comments here that I might be able to react to on Facebook. Let's see. Why would I be watching NBC? David, good question. Good question. It's funny because I do think it's important to continue to stay abreast of all the information that is being churned out. The freedom, America is a free place because we have freedom of information. And as much as we might not agree with the lies that are put forth by many mainstream outlets, I do think it's imperatively important that we stay informed so that we are aware of the lies that are being churned out, and we are aware and informed and become capable of teaching our children how to discern truth from lies. Let me see. I saw the NBC nonsense and their lies. Unbelievable. Thank you, Heather. Let me see. This is from Christopher. I'm reading these off the cuff, so let's see. There is a culture war and all rules of engagement are out the door from the liberals' perspective. Liberals have no morals. They have no ethics. They create and recreate ethic rules in order to advance their own interests. This is the essence of evil. NBC, you know I'm right. That's from Christopher. So it's that old adage, know thy enemy. And I hate categorizing things into enemy, but the reality is that we are living in a time of good versus evil. And Dennis and Marissa discuss it right at the top of this reaction piece. I'm going to listen to it and give you a teaser of what you can expect because you're going to want to watch this. It really is fascinating. Take a listen.
To have your school get not just one, not just two, but multiple bomb threats.
Forgive me, what is the point of this questioning? What does this have to do with PragerU?
I don't know what else you need to lose faith in our legacy media.
There is no possible way anyone watching this would know how much good exists at PragerU. Lying by omission is as evil as lying by commission.
What I hear from teachers of every background is that they are slammed. They don't even have time to talk about pronouns, gender theory.
Okay, I just want people to watch the following clips because the gaslighting has to end.
And there you have it. Okay, folks, there you have it. I'm out of time. I wanted to share that with you today. Parents, grandparents, teachers, educators, you know where to find us, PragerUKids.com. Subscribe for free to get everything you need to educate our kids against lies, against misinformation, against division based on the color of their skin or otherwise, anything else. And we have a positive purpose for all of this nonsense that is being accused of us. We have a positive purpose, which is very inspiring, which is to continue towards finding truth and sharing truth and fueling truth. And again, we are a nonprofit, PragerU, PragerUKids.com. Let this latest NBC hit piece inspire you to support what is good, to support what we're doing, and that is to educate children in a wholesome, healthy way that is unifying for them and for the future good of our country. Thank you for all of your support. I invite you to watch all the links that I shared, all at PragerU.com. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Bye-bye, guys.